Downton is a great house, Mr. Bates, and the Crawleys are a great family. We live by certain standards, and those standards can at first seem daunting.
Of course.
This was all about creating the sense of Bates, the man with the sort of unspecified past. I think actually when we were doing it, I thought his past was gradually going to leak out over the series and we were going to explain the whole thing. But we never did, because any explanation I came up with always seemed rather anticlimactic compared to the man of mystery.
If you find yourself tongue-tied in the presence of his lordship, I can only assure you that his manners and grace will soon help you to perform your duties to the best of your ability.
I know.
Bates, my dear fellow, I do apologise. I should have realised you'd all be at lunch.
Not at all, my lord.
Please sit, everyone. I just want to say a quick hello to my old comrade in arms. Bates, my dear man, welcome to Downton.
Thank you, sir.
When Robert Grantham comes downstairs, he is aware that he is not on his own territory, so he apologises for coming in. They sort of half stand, but not very much, and then he excuses himself because this way of life really depended on the different elements recognising which bits of the house were their territory, and everyone had to observe that, including the family upstairs.
You never asked.
And you explore all of the ideas of status and who's in and who's not in, and he's, of course, now a much more interesting figure because, you know, he's a confidant of Robert's, so
sure.
It's...
This was a key scene for me because we'd created Bates, the man of mystery, the valet with the limp, and the past, which we never actually unravelled in the whole series. But if you have that, every now and then you have to show that there is suffering going on inside. And so this was an opportunity to do that.
Mr. Bates? Are you there?
This is one of our key early scenes. It establishes Bates and Anna as one of the central relationships. You know, the writing of the scene and the way they play it is one of many scenes that you've written in the show, which is all about two people saying, I love you. But I can't, you know, those words are never used.
I brought something up. In case you're hungry.
That's very kind.
One of the hallmarks of Downton is that the scenes are almost never about what they're saying. And that was the very earliest established style of the show, that it was all about English being trapped inside yourself and all that. But they were very, very good at it.
I'm ever so sorry you're going.
I'll be all right.
Of course you will. There's always a place for a man like you.
Oh, yes. Something will turn up.
Tell us, when you're fixed, just drop us a line. Else I'll worry.
Well, we can't have that.
That's good, that scene.
Yeah, very good.
Both the actors judged that so perfectly as well, and it's a really delicious early scene from Downton.
All in the script, of course.
They do their bit too, I suppose.
Why wouldn't you tell me?
Because I knew the suffering it would bring you. Well, it's in the open. No more secrets.
We are in the business of laughter and tears, and never more tears than in that scene. I mean, they were terrific together.
Anna and Bates, of course, are probably the central sort of love affair below stairs. And you've created these two completely different characters. She is the most warm-hearted character in the whole show. He is, by nature, introverted and melancholic. They're very, very diverse characters, and yet they make a whole.
My shame has nowhere to hide.
Why do you talk of shame? I don't accept that there is any shame in this.
But I am spoiled for you. And I can never be unspoiled.
You are not spoiled. You're made higher to me and holier because of the suffering you have been put through.
It was very important to me to make it authentic for the period. One of the problems of rape is that there is a psychological element of self-condemnation that has to be dealt with by psychoanalysts and so on. And that generation were much less clued up about all that. Yeah. And they would have felt themselves sort of defiled. And I felt we couldn't lose that without being false to the truth of the time we were depicting.
You are my wife, and I have never been prouder, not loved you more than I love you now at this moment.
Truly.
Truly.
If any real couple had been through this many, terrible things, the marriage would not last. But for these characters, it strengthens them.
Gathered together here in the sight of God and in the face of this congregation, to join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony.
And within that scene, you've got a moment with Mary and Henry. You've got Anna, who's about to give birth at any moment. Sure. You've got,
Thomas, who's in his crisis of hating his job, and
so all of those things have got to land, and they have a couple of seconds each to land all of those moments.
And you, the actor, you have to be very clear about what your little moment is doing for your story. So you really have to be very focused. But I think our cast were pretty good at that, actually.
If any man can show any just cause why...
I think I've got two favourites I'd pick out of these scenes. I thought the scene of Bates crying when Anna brings him the food was a tremendous Downton scene.
Tell us, when you're fixed, just drop us a line. Else I'll worry.
Well, we can't have that.
The scene was so moving, and yet not at all about the fact she brought a tray or wanted a postcard. It was about the fact that they were sort of in love with each other and everything was terrible, and I thought they both did it superbly. But my all-time favourite, which I suspect is one of yours, is the goodbye at the station, because again, it's all unsaid.